Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Hour. I'm your host, Miguel Sanchez. And on today's show, I'm going to be talking about how you can start doing what I'm doing right now, where you're listening to me or watching me. How could you become a video or audio podcast content creator today? Right? Because part of what I keep seeing and part of what I keep hearing people are asking me after I create content like this is, all right, I'm down. How can I start? Right. So part of what I wanted to do was start giving you the step by step of how you can start. Right. So the first place to start is with your phone or your computer. If your computer has a camera, you can start today for free. You already paid for the phone or the computer. If you don't have a phone or a computer, you're probably not watching this anyway. So, so doesn't make sense. But if you are watching or listening on any of these devices, right? You are, you have, well, certain computers may not have a camera, but every phone now, I don't care what phone you have, unless you have a flip phone, you have a camera that can do this. So where to start though is if I was starting from scratch today, what I think I would be doing is I would be trying to understand what platform is going to bring me the most money fastest. So when I say bring you the most money, I don't mean advertising. I mean you could be making money from many different places, right? I have a show I created about affiliate marketing. That's one of the fastest ways to generate money. If you don't know what affiliate marketing is when you put a link in your description that when people click and they purchase, you get a percentage of that sale. That's one of the easiest ways to get money fast. But what if you have a business or you're a consultant or you're a coach? There's ways for you to get business there too, right? So if you look at all of these platforms, these social media platforms, they kind of have a audience type that you could pretty much identify early if you want to think it through. And a lot of them build their platform understanding that audience and doubling down on that audience. So for instance, Pinterest. Most people don't really think about Pinterest as much as they should. Pinterest has a heavy female user base. Pinterest is also one of the most traffic generating social media networks on the web, but most people don't even look at it, right? And I'm not saying just work only on Pinterest. I'm just telling you how you can think about these different platforms. Twitch is a new one that's up and coming. A lot of gamers are on Twitch, but now entrepreneurs are starting to get onto it. TikTok started out as a place for young people under 15 or something like that. Now entrepreneurs are starting to get on it, and it's helping grow them wherever they want to be. What I would tell you today, though, if you were starting today, is the first step you're going to have to do is get comfortable creating content. So I say this, and I've said this in many episodes. It took me like 6 months before I decided to show people the videos I was creating, because I was practicing. And it's kind of like sports, right? Like, you don't want to step on the field the first time in a game, right? You want to practice, right? So I've been in many sports teams. We practice more than we play the game, right? And then when it's game time, you're ready for whatever happens because you've been practicing, right? So I heard a saying one time: you gain notoriety in public for what you do in private, right? So by practicing in private and then putting it in public, you will be much better off when it finally goes public. And I think I look back at my early stuff and I cringe, right? But it was like I was going through the process. Even at that point, I was practicing in front of all of you. And I look and I'm like, I wish I could delete that. But no, it's fine. Part of why I did it. And I remember one of the first videos I did, I said this. I said it. I was driving actually. And I was like, you know what? I just caught a thought that I felt like I had to say on camera. And I was not going to wait till maybe I had time to shoot it later. I just wanted to get it out and say it and go. And then I even broke down that this is my process of learning how to do this, getting comfortable, being okay with having a thought, saying it, and putting it out. Because there was a long gap of me creating videos and I just didn't want to put it out. It was even one time, and I don't know if you guys remember this. If you remember this, you've been around for a long time, where I was setting up to do a shoot and the chair fell from under me and I fell. I fell back and I put that out. And that was me getting over the fact that perfection is not real. You know, perfection is only, you can only be perfect when you make adjustments, right? So there has to be something first for you to perfect, right? So if you don't start, you can never be perfect. And you never can be perfect anyway. So it's a vicious cycle that you put yourself in where you'll never get out of and you'll never get onto the show, the Entrepreneur Hour show. But the idea is, if I was starting today, understanding what I know about YouTube, that's where I would start. And that's where I am starting. But at the same time, I've created all kind of automations where I'm not just on YouTube right now. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I'm on personal Facebook, fan page Facebook, and eventually I'll be on LinkedIn. And that's all processes that I'm going to show you today. But if you wanted to start today and you said, I don't want to pay for anything, because I do have to pay for some of these services, right? I have to pay for a lot of services, actually. But to me, it's worth it. It's an investment in my company, myself, my future, right? At the end of the day, I know I'm paying. Maybe I'll break down today all the things I think I paid for to do this. But it all starts out where you have to be comfortable on camera. You have to, and even right now, I'm not comfortable. I'm more comfortable than I was a year ago, though. And I'm sure next year I'll be way more comfortable than I was 2 years ago. But it takes time to feel that, to get over that fear. Because like, I know right now there's a few people watching live, but one day 1 million people will be seeing this. It may be 20 years from now, right? It may be 50 years from now. 1 million people will have watched this video one day. It could be 150 years from now, right? But the thing is, right now I'm sitting here, it's 2020, it's October, whatever the date is, and I'm live on video talking to a camera. Like, if there's a person behind me, there's a lot of mental gymnastics that have to go in play to make that work, right? And just like anything, you think playing baseball, basketball, football, track, whatever it is, whatever sport you play, it's the same thing, right? You just got to practice and you get the muscle memory, right? So instead of physical muscle memory, with this, there's mental muscle memory that I am developing by doing the Entrepreneur Hour. And another thing is where people ask me, do I need to do an hour? Do I need to do live? No, you don't have to do any of that. I didn't start any of that way. I was creating videos of just me talking. I wasn't even editing anything. I was just talking, ending it, uploading it. And I got to the point where even people were telling me this is good stuff, but if you edited it, I think it will be get a lot more views. So I was like, look, I know how to edit. I just don't have time to edit. So I said, all right, I will edit whenever I can. So, and then I found this software called Descript and changed the whole situation. Because now with Descript, editing is like literally like editing a sentence. So you see the words and you delete them and it edits the video. That's pretty impressive. And a genius company. And it helps. It's an automation. It's an AI, right? So it's one of the AIs I use, one of the automations, and it costs me money. It costs me $30 a month. There's a cheaper plan. There's like a $14.99 plan a month, but the $30 a month plan is like 30 hours a month of uploads, which means I could literally do an hour a day and still be okay. So to me, that's worth it. That's worth it. $30 and I use it every single day. So that's $1 a day to make my life easier. That's how I think about these things. Then I use something called StreamYard. And StreamYard, if you want to try it, there's a link in my description. It's an affiliate link, which means you get $10 off and I get $10 towards my next bill. But StreamYard came along. It might have came along before the pandemic, but I think it got big during the pandemic because what it does, you talk into your video camera and it live streams it to up to, I think, 10 places at the same time. So all you got to do is log in to your Facebook, log into your Twitter, log into your YouTube, log into your Twitch, and it will automatically just send it to all those feeds whenever you go live. That's pretty powerful. Before, there were other things like that, but it was super technical. You had to be a computer, not whiz, but know a lot to be able to do it. And I mean, you don't have to know how to code, but you have to understand a few things that most people don't understand. With StreamYard, you just need to know how to log in and press live, go live. That's pretty efficient. So that one also, I think that cost me $50 a month. Actually, I don't know. I think it's 25, 50, something like that. Those are the main two things I use. And then I use a few things like one is called TubeBuddy and one is called vidIQ. These are plugins that help you to search topics that make sense to talk about. So if you think about when you're about to create content, right? You have to create a title for the content. So that's another big thing, right? When you go on Instagram Live and Facebook, you don't think about the title. But on YouTube, you have to think about the title. Why is that? Because YouTube is searchable. So if I am searching for something and it coincides with the content you're creating and the title matches, you will come up. And that's a large way I get a lot of traffic right now. But it's because up front, I'm doing the work to figure out what is the search terms that are coming up often within the stuff I feel like talking about. And that in itself is a process, and there's platforms like TubeBuddy and vidIQ that help you do that. And of course, I got affiliate links that will give you a cheaper price and me some bonus for it. I'll put links in that. But those are the main things. I think I pay $25 a month for Tube. I forget. I'm probably paying about $100 a month to do this. But again, I use it almost every single day. And I'm going to explain to you how I use it every single day so you can do it if you want. And I know a lot of people have told me, you giving all this information for free. Why don't you put it behind a course or something? And I will do that, but I'm still going to give it to you for free because I feel like if you're willing to listen to all my content, listen to the Entrepreneur Hour, podcast, this, that, and get the information, you deserve it, right? If you want it shorter, more compressed in one location, and you want access to me to help you, that's what I would eventually create and ask you to pay for, because you're paying for my time, really. Here, I'm putting it out. I'm telling you how to do it. And if you want to do it, you'll do it. But part of what I know from experience and even within myself is you can give people the information free. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. What most people want is someone to hold them accountable and someone to make it easier for them. That's what they're willing to pay for. So when I go and I do the Entrepreneur Hour, I know most people can't tune in every day. Not even my best friend, my parents, nobody could do that, right? But if you are willing to sit through and listen to what I'm talking about, and it helps me anyway because the YouTube views grow, whatever views grow, then the information is yours. But if you, again, with me, I know it's just like, I think about it like in the gym aspect, right? You pay for the subscription of going to a gym, but you hire a trainer to hold you accountable and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do the right way to get the best results the fastest, right? You can go into a gym. And just try to use the machines or pick up the weight however you think you need to do it, but you could be doing it very wrong. right? I'm giving you this information, but there may be certain things that you misunderstand and do it wrong, or not understand and not be able to ask a question. But even that, I'm willing to answer questions. That's why I go live. I go live so people can ask me questions live in the moment. I'll answer it. You get the answer live. The podcast listeners get it live, and everybody wins. But still, I will be creating a place where if you want it more concise and stuff like that, there will be a place for that. It's not ready yet. I'm definitely thinking it through and working on it every day. But all of that, think about what I just said, the course that I will be creating, my businesses, my nonprofit, some new startup I'm working on, all of that really will benefit tremendously from me doing this content every day. That's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it just to give information out. I'm doing it because I know when I drop something, well, everybody wants to call me during the show. When I drop anything, a startup, a course, coaching, whatever I could decide to do. Next week, I'm going to the Dominican Republic. I'm about to show people how to make an Airbnb. And I'm making one in the Dominican Republic, and I'm going with my dad, and we're going to film and talk about it. And then that'll bring me more traffic to my Airbnb, right? Because people watch it. They're like, oh, I like that location. I never even heard of that place. I want to go there. Maybe I could rent Miguel's place, right? So at the end of the day, content is king, right? And right now, when all people are doing is watching YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're watching, people are on these social platforms more than ever. They're not really in front of you as much anymore. You can't really talk about things in any other way than social media. So I don't see a way around people creating content. So if you had to start today, though, I would tell you, if you were a person asking me and you had a specific type of business, everyone, I would tell you to start on YouTube, even though YouTube is going to take you a long time before you can make ad revenue. But the beauty of YouTube is the most searchable one out of all of them. If I said today, how do I make a podcast? And my video comes up when you search that could bring me a lot of traffic. And imagine if I had a course, like I will have, on how to create a podcast easily that makes money, right? I'm going to bundle that up into like a content creation, not just podcast, but because look what I'm doing right now. I'm doing video and audio at the same time. So there's a way to do that. And an easy way to do it actually is using StreamYard and Descript. So I'm going to explain to you how I do it. So every day I go live, right? One of the major reasons I go for an hour is because that gives me an hour worth of podcasts. Podcasting does well with longer form storytelling. So, but you can do smaller podcasts. You can do 5-minute podcasts, 20. And there's no minimum time. You could do a minute-long podcast. But for me, I wanted a longer form thing. I want because also to get the YouTube. For YouTube is starting to help content creators that do an hour worth of content. So to me, I look at it and I say, okay, I'm basically practicing speaking about a topic for an hour, which what does that help me with? Another revenue stream, public speaking. Because right now, this video will get seen by more people than most of the public speaking gigs I've done, right? Eventually, I'm going to be selling out arenas, right? But at the end of the day, practicing speaking and talking about a topic for an hour and keeping people's attention, that is a valuable skill to have. So I need experience doing it. So that helps me one way. Second way, I get the hour worth of content on YouTube, which YouTube gives me closer to monetization, right? YouTube needs 4,000 hours of watch time before they give me a dime. So every day I go on and I do an hour, and even if there's one person watching, I get 1 hour closer to that. At this point, when I'm shooting this content, I'm getting about 60 hours of watch time a week. To get to monetization, you have to be doing about 70, 80 hours a week of, a week of hours of watch time. So I'm getting closer and closer and closer. And then the beauty of a YouTube is, as you do it, and if you name your titles the right way with the right keywords, your past videos start to grow in views too. So that's how I'm growing in hours every month, because my past videos are picking up. Like I'll have a video that 3 months ago just gets a bunch of views out of nowhere because YouTube decided to promote it and people decided to click it. And that's how come YouTube is super powerful. And I would tell you to start there. I would tell you learn on YouTube, because if you do it right or if you do it wrong, you don't lose, because you gain in experience and you gain in watch hours. Another reason why I would tell you to start on YouTube and today is because you have to start figuring out what people care about. So for instance, me, I've been talking about multiple revenue streams and innovation, monetization, how to create startups, how to raise money, how to do nonprofits. This is all stuff I'm interested in, and I wish people would have spoken to me about or gave me information about when I started. But I see certain things that people really are interested in, like real estate, content creation, podcasts. And now that's giving me the motivation to create a course around it, because I see the feedback. And I've had multiple people like, when you talk about that, I'm in. I'm willing to pay for a course because I need help. So it's like, all right, what ends up happening is you putting out this content, people watching, people will start to tell you what to sell to them. I remember I talk about this a lot, but I remember going to a funeral about 6 months in, maybe a little bit less. No, it was less of me doing this. And one of my friends, I hadn't seen him in a long time, but of course I have him on social. He goes, I love the content, man. I want to buy what you're selling, but I don't know what you're selling. And that was one of the first times I was like, what am I selling? I'm not really selling anything. I'm selling myself. I'm trying to grow my personal brand. I want more people to become aware of me, and what I do, and then I'll make money around it. That was how I was thinking about it at first. But then I started to realize a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, there's revenue streams around it. So for instance, I decided, based on a few people asking, I decided to make an online store on one of my shows live. And I showed people how to make it from start to finish. And one of my friends reached out to me. He's like, dude, why would you do that? You could have charged a few $100s for that course. And I was like, well, I just did the basics. And if I ever wanted to, I could make a course where I go super deep into everything you should be doing and when you set up an online store. But right now, I'll just put it out there. I think I helped a few people make a store now. But what I did was I set up an affiliate link on Shopify. I've already almost made $200 off that affiliate link, right? So in order to make that same amount of money on YouTube, I would have had to have 20,000 views. Oh, wait, 2 million. No, wait, yeah, like, I think it's 2 million views. Hold on. I think it's 1 per thousand. Yeah, 20,000. No, 200,000. There it is. That's the amount. I would have had to have 200,000 views to make $200 at 1 CPM. I made that off just having the link in my video, and that video doesn't even have 500 views, right? So, and of course, I talk about it in a few different videos. So if I added all the videos up where I'm talking about this, not even 1,000 views, but I made more money than having 200,000 views on just ads, right? So that's what I mean, right? And then that feedback, that person calling me and telling me that was good content, that made me think, all right, I need to make more content around creating an online store, because I know how to do a lot of things. I just don't know what you guys are interested in me teaching. I could teach whatever. But when people reach out and like, oh, what you were talking about there, how do you do that? And that's been happening a lot with the content and the podcast. So I said, all right, somebody reached out because a few people have been reaching out and saying, look, you motivated me. I'm going to start creating content. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Let me know if you need any help. All right, where do I start? And I'm like, all right, so you need to download Anchor. You need to, if you're going to do a podcast, download Anchor. Anchor's the best way of doing it. If you're going to do video, use StreamYard. If you're going to edit your video, use Descript. All stuff I'm telling you for free. And they're like, oh, all right. And then they come back. Yeah, but I'm having a problem with this, with that. And I'm texting multiple people and I'm like, all right, this is where I can see why a course makes sense. Because I can't help everybody. Like if I did that with 100 people, I literally wouldn't have time to eat, right? So I would be saying, okay, you know what? Go here. It's going to cost something, but there you'll get the start to finish. Take it all the way, right? You'll be able to do anything you see me doing, you'll be able to do, right? So that all came from months and months and months of going live 5 times a week. People have, and another thing, if you're going to create this, if you're going to start doing this, people respect the consistency. I remember when I first started, and I knew people were, in the beginning, people were like, what's going on? Why are you doing that? Then months later, when you got hundreds of videos up, people are like, damn, man, you're really killing it with that. Well, how's that going? Are you making money from that yet? Right? So where it's going is people respect the consistency and then they start to watch and then they go back and watch more. So that's another reason why my numbers are growing, because now it's not like my videos are 1,000% better, but now when people come in because they respect the consistency, they'll binge watch a little bit more and be like, oh, what you said there was pretty interesting. Let me see what else you got. And they'll go deeper into your content and grow your views. The big thing I would tell you that I wish I understood earlier, and I'm finding it out now, is how to monetize the content faster and better. Like I said, I didn't realize the affiliate link was such a good thing to do as early as possible. If I would have known that day one, I would have just had links and everything from day one. That would have generated a lot of money. I mean, not a lot, but more than what I'm getting from YouTube. Another big thing I would have done sooner is just really, really double down on the podcast. The podcast, you know, there's a Warren Buffett quote. He says, don't focus on becoming a billionaire. Focus on that business making $1 at first, then making $10, then making $100, then making $1,000, then making $100,000, right? 10, 100 million. So the podcast has almost made $10. So I'm like, okay. And of course, I know I'm not talking to I'm not creating content that's targeting most of the public. I know entrepreneurs represent a very small percentage of the population, but I'm fine with that. Let's say entrepreneurs represent 1% of the global population. There's 7 billion people on Earth. There's a lot of people. And remember, there's another big thing that you should be understanding if you are going to get into this content creation thing. All it takes is 1,000 true fans. That's the same. If you have 1,000 true fans, you can live your whole life off their support. Think about that. So there's 7 billion people on this earth. You're going to tell me you can't find 1,000 of them that would support you and be interested in what you have to say and do? And if you can figure out how to monetize the attention where it's a value on both sides, that 1,000 people. I told you there was this guy. I watch videos all day long about this stuff, trying to make sure I'm learning. There's a guy who makes $10 million a year off this principle. He said it. If you got 1,000 people to pay you $29 a month, it's $29,000 a month. It's kind of like, what job are you going to get that does that doesn't kill you? If not, you got to be one of the luckiest people on earth to get, right? Like, so this is not something you got to be one of the luckiest people on earth to get. All you have to do is work, and be able to take the longevity of it, because this guy, he's been doing it for 10 years. 10 years. I also say a lot of times with this multiple revenue stream idea, it just takes 10 years. Of course, it's hard work, not ideal life conditions. You're not going to be able to have work-life balance for those 10 years. But you do 10 years of hard work towards whatever you want, you can get it. But you got to be willing to put in the 10 years of hard work. And that's where most people are not willing to. Anybody I speak to about their idea, their whatever, are you willing to do it for 10 years? Hard labor. If not, don't even start. That's the feedback, because anything you do is going to take that time. And I tell a story always. The first time I went and I was building a website for a client, first client. He happened to be a Hispanic that owned a large construction company. And he told me it's going to take you 10 years before you even understand your business. And I remember thinking, yeah, right. I'm smarter than you. I'm definitely going to figure it out before then. No, I'm not. He was right. 10 years, then you start to really understand, okay, all the mistakes, all the craziness that happens in entrepreneurship. The thing I like about content creation versus a business, and of course, I think you should have them all. I think you should have a business where this content creation money goes into, but that's a whole nother video, is with the content versus creating a service-based business. There's a lot of ups and downs in service-based businesses. Whatever service you choose, that industry has ups and downs. They all do, all of them. So you got to learn those ups and downs, right? And you don't learn them on the first year. It takes you a few years to see the pattern. And you're like, oh, okay, so every May is going to suck, right? Versus based on whatever you decide. Versus content creation, there's people that put out one video a week, but they have a system in place where a certain percentage of those people end up buying their software, buying their course, buying their whatever, and they make a living, right? So you can guide your life much more, I think, with a content creation thing. And of course, I'm just starting on the path. I'm like a year in. So I'm early. I'm talking about people that are 9 years ahead of me, but I'm learning from those people. That's another thing. I pay so those people can teach me, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to wing it and I'll figure it out by the time it's 10 years. I'm saying, no, I know it's going to take 10 years, but imagine 10 years with paying the right people to help me get there faster, right? That's what the courses and stuff like that do. That's why you do them. You have access. I have access to one of the best YouTube people in the world. I can ask him a question. He will answer me, or his team will answer me, right? So when you're creating this content, think about what can you do like that for someone else or 1,000 people? Think about it like that. 1,000 people. What can I help 1,000 people with? And I'm going to start today by creating content around helping them for free. Right now, I just told you how I do all of my podcast video stuff for free. You have a video camera on your phone or your computer. It's not free. The StreamYard is not free. Descript is not free, but you can still do this for free. You just need to go on one platform. You could just go on Facebook Live. You could just go on YouTube Live. You could just go on Instagram Live. That's free. You don't need anything other than what you already have. Then, if you don't want to edit, just like I wasn't editing at first, just leave it up. See what happens. The truth is, though, you're going to get to a point where the speed of using these tools start to benefit you financially. So for me, I have a company, Mass Ideation, which I can use these tools for as well. So Miguel Sanchez is a client of Mass Ideation right now. So Mass Ideation is able to pay for these services, and it's a tax write-off for my business. So it's a benefit for me. But same would be for you. If you created a business, you can create a business around your own content, and then it's a tax write-off for you too. So as we all learned with Donald Trump, there's ways of lowering your tax hit, right? Of course, you shouldn't be lowering it that much, but you can, right? And one big thing is the stuff you spend to make you money is a tax write-off. So let me give you a quick tax lesson. if you're an individual and you have a job, you pay taxes before you get your money, right? If you have a corporation and money goes into that corporation, you pay taxes after all of the costs that you spent to grow that business. So if you spend money on a bunch of things, computers, advertising, software, you pay taxes on whatever after that you made, right? So this is a key big thing about business, right? So for me with mass ideation, that's what I do, right? All these things is just software that mass ideation pays for, and it pays for a lot of other software too to do stuff for my clients. But like I said, I'm one of my clients. So, but I also, even if I wasn't, I would be creating an LLC or whatever. I think LLC makes the most sense if you're just doing this. I would create an LLC, invest my own money. I would put the first 6 months of StreamYard and Descript into an account, a business account, and then I would start using that account and building my content brand. And then when the money comes in, eventually it will, I will put it all in there too. Why is that? Because you're gonna have to pay taxes on that money. So it's better to pay taxes after you, because then you have to buy equipment, phones, cameras, more software, advertising, all that spend. You could be deducting it from the amount you made and then paying taxes on what's left instead of taking it out of the money you have left over after paying taxes already. So if that makes sense to you, it's a big deal. And I remember first learning that and being like, whoa, I just paid a lot less taxes on making more money than when I had a full-time job because of that. And then there's all kind of extra stuff that business owners get valued based on. Like you can put more money into like different types of IRAs and pay less tax and not pay no tax on a certain amount of money. It's all kind of, talk to an accountant. I'm not an accountant, but I've had some good ones over the years. So all of this is to say, I would start today and think about, what can I teach 1,000 people? If I can teach 1,000 people something and figure out how to monetize that, I could live the rest of my life off that. So to me, right now, where I am after this year is I'm battling between creating content like I'm doing right now, which a lot of people have asked me to do, to help them, between podcast and video, startups, because I work with Meta Bronx and I've helped many startups raise money, and I've been able to be taught from the venture capital side how venture capitalists look at startups. So startups want that information from me. So that's one thing. And I am working on something that I will be launching soon. I'll talk to you about on that side. So there's the startups, helping content creators. And then I think what I do at Mass Ideation. So right now, Mass Ideation, my company, people come to me to ask me to build easy things, easy for people like us, and then complicated things. But most of the time, they ask me to build complicated things. So I have developed over the last 10 years a system that helps me and anybody I bring into my team to build complex things. So I may create a course around that as well, to say, whatever your idea is, if you follow this process, you can make it happen. Whether it's a website, an animation, creative or technology, any type of project you would want to do, you can make it happen with this process, because that's how I do it every day. Every day that somebody comes, yes, all right, first step is this, second step is that, third step is this, done, happy, next client, right? So those are the three places I'm looking at. I'm saying I can teach 1,000 people in each one of those. There's many people who have agencies, who want to start agencies, who have ideas that they want this information because it can save their pockets, right? Because a lot of what I do, I have to be able to do it at the lowest cost possible, because that's how I profit, right? As a business, if somebody pays me $10,000 to do something and it costs me $5, then I make $5. If it costs me $3, then I make $7, right? So it's up to me as a business owner to figure out how to make that cost the lowest possible so I make the most money, right? So I know how to do it. I've been doing it for 10 years. That's how I pay my bills. So that's something I could teach. The startup thing is a little bit different, because a lot of times early on, people don't have the money to pay for help. So in the past, what I've done is I've taken equity, I've helped people raise money and make money through that. I've done many different things, but I've seen lately a lot of these startup kind of schools come around, and I'm like, I was doing that for free for many years. I might as well do it and put up the same stuff as them, and I got probably a better track record, so I could put it up and prove I've done it. I could put testimonials, all that. So that's another one that I'm looking at. And then of course this content creation thing, because another big thing is called imposter syndrome, right? If you think you are not good enough to teach something, it's usually because it's of imposter syndrome. If you know one day more of something than someone else, you can teach them, right? So the fact that I've been doing content creation for a year, it's not like I got millions of followers, I got millions of views, but I have a year's worth of experience that I can teach people. It's harder to get on all these platforms now and grow. It just is, depending on what you want to do. Of course, if I was a hot girl and I wanted to dance and I got on TikTok, it'd be a little bit easier, but it's still not easy. It's not easy. So what I'm really angling towards is content creation that makes money, and not just from the videos, kind of like what I'm talking about. I've been putting up videos and people are coming to me for projects, partnerships, opportunity after opportunity. So it is creating money for me, just not in the video form of advertising playing in front of it or in the middle. So that I've been learning it for a year and I have it pretty down. And at this point, if I wanted to, I could be creating thousands of pieces of content a month, thousands. But right now I'm not doing that because I don't have the true monetization of that content yet. I'm not gonna, because I need to do other things to pay my bills, right? If that content was making me $10 million a year, you would be seeing me everywhere, all day, every day. When it does, I'll let you know. No, I won't, because I come from the hood. I can't really tell everybody I make $10 million. Everybody be like, oh, I'm your cousin. So the truth is, this is a crazy opportunity. The online education space alone is $300 billion, some crazy number like that. And it's only growing. And it's only growing. And then the coaching business is huge, massive, probably similar numbers, only growing. Membership sites, huge, only growing. And all that you could do from content. You can make money in all three of those revenue streams. We are. You're gonna be my right hand man once I'm making $10 million. So at the end of the day, it's really about starting. And I don't even care if you don't have something to sell yet. I'm telling you, there's something people will pay you to teach them. I know it. Every single person has something. They have something that people want to know, right? That they know they've done it, and and other people haven't. So even if I like learn how to make beats, right? I'm not Dr. Dre, but I know how to make beats. And if I put up and I said, look, pay me $25 and I will show you how to make beats, some people may pay for that, right? So at the end of the day, I say, search in yourself, right? Start thinking, what can I teach people? What, because also I said this before, I believe we're going into this like economy shift where what's happening. I just watched a video this morning of Elon Musk's neural network thing where he's putting an AI in your brain. And you just see AI is going to take a lot of jobs, a lot. Almost everyone I think of right now, AI is going to be able to do it better than humans. So what happens if that happens? Of course, humanity shifts and adjusts, and it might turn into a place where we have more time to do better things, and we figure out other things to do for value and society. But while we figure that out, what's going to happen, I believe, is people are going to get to the point where it's not going to be what do you do? It's going to be what do you teach people, right? So If that's the only way, one of the only very few ways of monetization, making money, I'm going to be in that game. I'm not going to like, if that's the way I see it, and I do see it that way, I believe the only two ways you're going to be able to make money in the very near future is if you have a strong brand that people want ahead of others. So for instance, this has literally happened to me in the pandemic, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the show. People have come to me and said, I want you to make our website. And I tell them the price, and they say, oh, that's more expensive than others. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I have to charge that much because XYZ. They're like, all right, yeah, we just want to work with you. That's because of branding, right? The fact that they're willing to pay more to work with me, just like iPhones, right? You're willing to pay more for an iPhone than another thing because the brand, and of course, the value that you perceive it to have. And I do it too. So at the end of the day, branding is number one, and then technology is going to be the harder one. Is you got to have a technology that's very hard to replicate. And that's not going to be that's going to be very hard to do. As a person that creates technology all day, every day, that's going to be very hard to do. So the one that's the simplest, the best path towards forever monetization is building a brand, building your brand, your own personal brand and a business brand at the same time. If you're just building a business and building a brand around that business, I think that's a miss. And I made that miss. The first 10 years, I only focused on mass ideation. I stayed myself behind the scenes. Only people who knew me, that worked with me, knew I ran it and I did what I did. But the public, it was very much, I was hiding myself, mostly because imposter syndrome, one, but two, because I felt racism would make it harder for me as a Puerto Rican Hispanic male, which there weren't many of me in technology and creative fields. It would make it harder for me to get business. So I hid behind the mass ideation logo, right? But I know now, even with that, I should have put my face out there from day one, and it would have been very different. I would have been on all these platforms earlier, so it would have been easier to grow on all of them. I would have had much bigger views, much already be monetized, because I was one of the only ones, like literally, right? So, and there's, you don't really see anybody that looks like me still to this day doing this stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. So imagine 10 years ago, right? So, and again, I say this almost every show now, pretty much. The second best time to plant trees is today, right? So, okay, you didn't do it a year ago. You didn't do it 10 years ago. You could do it today, though. You have a phone. Wherever you're watching me on, you have that. That's a way you could start. So the next thing would be, okay, so what am I going to talk about, though? And the truth is, how I started was, what do I wish I knew? And I wish someone would have told me, of course, around my business, right? Because I know I have things angling towards things that make me money. So like a website. When I first started making websites, we had to code every line from scratch. Now there's tools where you can press one button and you have a whole website, right? So of course, me seeing that to that, I've learned a bunch of things in the middle that can teach and help people save a lot of time and money, right? But also, bigger clients will come to me and want bigger things, bigger projects that can help me. One of the best shows. Thank you, George. Start today. I know, George, you on it, though. George been on it for many years. At the end of the day, though, today is never going to be easier, first of all. It's only going to get easier. I mean, it's only going to get harder and harder, right? Because the longer you take to get in the game, the more people are going to be in the game, right? So every day, I think I heard a crazy stat, like 100 million people who sign up for YouTube, some crazy thing like that, a month or something like that. And let's say 1% of them are content creators. That's like 1 million people a month now you're competing with. Every month you wait, million new competitors. And not just competitors, because that's another thing I would tell you. If I had to start over, I wouldn't think so much. Thanks, honking the horn outside. Bronx, that's the Bronx for you. if I had to start over, I wouldn't worry about competition because nobody is you. Nobody's you. Nobody's going to have your exact same life where they get to see the things you got to see, right? So whatever aspect of you teaching you're going to bring, you're the only one on this planet that can bring it. So if people like the way you are educating them, they're more likely when it's time to purchase. You can have the same exact course as the next person, but because they've invested in you and they like listening to you and they like you in some way because they are continuing to come back, they're more likely to buy it from you than them. And that's where we're going. A lot of these people are teaching similar things. It's more about, do I like this person's teaching style? Can I relate to them? Do I feel like I'm going to get the value from them? And that could just be a difference of copy. They could just be saying something on their website that's better than the next person, but the next person, you may just like the way they communicate better. And I'm telling you, this is where it's heading. I'm already seeing it from before pandemic to now. You may be recognizing it too. I'm not sure if based on the stuff I watch, I get a lot more of that kind of content coming to me, but I see it. I see it now. And I'm watching everybody because I'm learning from everybody. And then I'm giving you the same content. At the end of the day, the way I see it is I'm like the mama bird, right? I go out, get the food, and then I like break it up and give it to you, right? So my thing is, what kind of content do I believe you want to get, right? But then I wait and I hear based on what I do, the comments, the DMs, the calls, and I'm like, all right, I keep hearing podcasts, I keep hearing video content creation, I keep hearing startup stuff, fundraising. So now, okay, I'm gonna put those in buckets, and I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna create more content around that to bring people in. Like today, for instance, again, I don't know what I was gonna talk about, but I was like, all right, the content thing is the biggest thing I keep hearing. I'm gonna create something around content. So, and then someone DM me, someone text me, all right, I'm ready to start. What would you do first? And I was like, all right, that's the show. That's what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about how I would start today if I was starting today, right? So at the end of the day, the first place to start is, what do you think the value you can give to somebody? 1,000 people. I would think in the 1,000-person scale. Why is that? The 1,000 true fan idea, right? If you get to 1,000 true fans, you can live your whole life with those 1,000 true fans. So what could you teach 1,000 people and comfortably teach them and maybe create some type of membership community, right? Membership site, like I talked about a few days ago. If you could create a membership site with 1,000 people, what do you think 1,000 people you know want to learn from you? But at the same time, what are you proficient at? And you believe they will believe you can teach them. Because if I told you, I'm going to teach you how to be an NBA player, just pay me $29 a month, you're going to be like, yeah, right. You know, but if I told you I'm going to teach you how to make a startup, you would believe that more, right? Because I have helped many startups. If I told you I could teach you how to make content every day, you're going to believe that because you see my face pop up every day making content, right? So it has to be a mix of something that you think is valuable, but that you are in line to comfortably convince someone that you can do, right? And that takes time. It's taking me time to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out. But again, my model of creating content is not about making money on the content. I'll make money around the content until I figure it out. I'm in it for the 10 years. I said it now, right? I started this when I was 40. 40. So by 50, I hope to be making $10 million a year. You know how I'm going to do it though? By innovating every day. That's the end of the show. Thank you for watching. If you watched anywhere, please like it, subscribe it, share it with anybody you think may need to see it. If you're on the Apple Podcast, please give me 5 stars on Apple Podcast. It'll help the podcast grow. Thank you so much. Super appreciate you all. And ask me any questions. Let's create some content. Let's create some courses. Let's create some membership sites. Let's create some generational wealth, multiple revenue streams. Thank you. Bye.